I'm not a billionaire. You don't have to do every little thing for me. I can wear a backpack. And also my drugs are in there, so give me that fucking backpack.
I went and got like a poke bowl. Low risk, but high stakes.
Yeah. Yeah. It looks like how an anime character, it just looks so ridiculous. Like I'm going Super Saiyan at the same time.
Do you ever take a leak and then you're just like, why is this so foamy?
What? I haven't had a foamy leak in a long time. What's the reason behind that? You have to know.
Apparently it's a very high protein intake.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I do eat protein. I guess maybe not that much. Or my body's used to it.
You don't eat like a pound of eel at a time.
Maybe, yeah, not like you. Not like you, dude. Just swallowing it whole.
Dude, and I'll eat for days, man.
You ate that eel. Ian ate an entire slab of eel. It was like probably like over a pound of eel. And like Mel and I watched you eat it. Like you just, like when they lower the superhero into like a vat of poison of acid. And he just slowly he just disappeared. Like you just did that with your mouth. And we just watched you inhale a pound and a half of eel in 2 seconds. We were just like, oh my God.
And it was glorious.
This is why the whites are on top, dude.
Didn't have any of that rice bogging it down. It was just pure unadulterated eel.
Yeah. That was crazy.
Well prepared and delicately flavored.
I'm sad that I can never express my love for eel in the way you do. It's truly a God-given
That's my
talent.
love language, is eating things.
Dude, what is up with love languages, man?
I think they're kind of like 50% a real thing and 50% just bullshit.
Yeah.
I definitely express affection by like getting things for people or doing things for people.
Yeah.
Like I like to give gifts because I like to see people happy that they got something.
Right.
And it's usually
you are a gifter.
It comes off as thoughtful.
Yeah.
For some reason, but usually it's just something that I think is cool, and I'm hoping that the recipient will also think it's cool, and then I get to share.
It's like sharing music with someone.
Yeah.
Like listen to this fucking dope ass song I heard, and like when you see them light up, you're like, yeah.
Pretty much that. Yeah. That's kind of what it comes down to.
Love it. It's almost like love has to be a little bit self-serving.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you do it for yourself too. It's like that gratification.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what's the quote? Like giving is the gift. Give the gift of giving.
Give the gift of life. Is that Red Cross asking for your blood?
I don't know if they'd want my blood. I'd probably get turned down. I don't know if I've actually donated. I think maybe one time, but when I was younger and my body was healthier.
It was not.
It wasn't
impure.
Tainted. Yeah, yeah. Who are they gonna give my blood to? People on Kensington Street. Just
where is Kensington Street? It sounds like a really bad street in Philadelphia.
That's exactly what it is. I feel like you already knew that.
Okay.
You had it filed away.
I think my subconscious had had that connection. I need to confirm
It's basically Zombie Row.
Okay,
where they're all just on
they're all
on fentanyl and just like it's crazy.
It's horrifying, yeah.
It is truly terrifying. I mean, I went down a rabbit hole of just watching Kensington videos on YouTube and just like could not believe it was real. I was like, this is staged, right? I was like, no. But like, and that's just like one spot. Like there's a billion spots like that in the US.
I'm kind of bummed out that I knew what it was.
Yeah.
But I shouldn't be surprised, I guess.
Yeah, it seems like Kensington has become like the mascot of like the slums of America.
Somehow it does seem it's like
whenever you want to prove that like we're not doing great, you just pull up a clip of Kensington. Every podcast is like, look at this. We're suffering.
It seems like it hits harder than like Skid Row, because I think Skid Row is just sort of is played out a little bit.
Yeah,
like people have seen it enough that that's not shocking anymore or whatever.
Right.
And then so you have to find something that will like grab people's attention.
Well, in Skid Row, they got tents. You know, like
so they're just nodding off and zombie.
They're doing the same thing, just in the privacy of their own tent. So you don't, it's not quite as.
I feel like
that's not as good for the gram.
Why aren't there tents on Kensington Road? Because like it's colder there.
That is true. Maybe they're just on more trank.
I guess. I just was.
They're still on level 1 of the forest. They haven't learned how to craft yet. so fucked up.
What is it? Tweakercraft? Nodcraft?
What's that?
I don't know. I thought you were making
Tweakercraft Nodcraft. Yeah.
I thought you were making a Minecraft reference.
Oh no.
Wait, level 1 of what forest? What
There's a game called The Forest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's craft. Like you're on an island with cannibals, like a tribe of cannibals, and you gotta like hunt and craft and kill them and stuff. But if you don't build like a tent or a shelter by nightfall, then they come and get you.
Okay, so you start the game during the day, and you have to have a shelter by the time the sun is down.
Yeah.
Or else you get eaten.
Yeah, I played the sequel. Mel bought me the sequel, and I was so excited. It's like the first time I really sat down and just played a game, like a single player game, in quite some time. And I spent like 3 hours just gathering crafts and built like a little tent, and then just immediately got killed and lost all my shit. And I was like, "Fuck this!" I stopped playing. I haven't played it since. It was the saddest bow out of a game I've ever played.
You should try Frostpunk then.
Frostpunk? What's up with Frostpunk?
It's probably the same thing. You'll play it and then you'll be like, "Oh no, I got destroyed." And then actually, I have to say I was surprised. It's not sort of my style of game, but I got really sucked into it and played through the whole thing.
Right.
It's this like steampunk, Ice Age in Victorian England, or like semi-post, like mid-industrial revolution.
Yeah.
And you have this little encampment that's surviving around this big coal-fired steam generator that generates heat and energy for your settlement, and you have to basically keep your people alive so they can work and collect resources to keep things going.
Yeah.
But then your people are always getting sick, so you're having to make infrastructure to take care of them while they're sick.
Can you like kill off some people? You're like, this is overpopulated. We need to crowd control a little bit.
You do get faced with some trolley problem type stuff.
Kill them all.
Or like, if they're it's something along the lines of, if they're too injured or ill to be a productive worker, then you just basically put them on like quarter rations, and they just are like a minimal weight on your economy, essentially.
Do they actually get skinnier, like if you don't feed them?
I don't know.
That'd be some nice attention to detail.
It wasn't quite as zoomy in as like The Sims.
Oh, okay.
It's more like a little city builder kind of thing.
Gotcha.
But it was surprisingly good at catching my attention and keeping me engaged and challenged. And it was actually pretty interesting, because it ended up like there's always problems. Like, you're progressing, right? You're getting cool things, unlocking these big robots that do work for you, and you're like, oh, things are going well. And then this big storm starts to form on the horizon, and it slowly comes towards you.
Winter is coming.
It's big time. Winter is coming, and you're doing your best to prepare for it.
Yeah.
And then it finally hits, and you're just like, oh wow, it got worse.
Right.
And then the central core mechanic of your coal generator, your steam generator, is if you put it on overload, then you get extra heat and extra warmth for your people, which keeps them from freezing.
Yeah.
But it also wears out the generator, and if it goes past a certain amount of wear, then it will just fail.
Oh,
so you're constantly trying to balance, like, okay, I have to let it cool down, but then that means people start like getting sick and freezing more.
God, I'd be terrible at that.
So you're just constantly and then the storm hits, and then it really goes into crazy mode. And I legitimately was like, I'm gonna lose. Like, this is not winnable. I just keep having to like balance immediate failure with long term, or short term failure.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it kept getting worse and worse. And finally I was just like, okay, well, I guess this is just one of those playthroughs where it ends in disaster.
Yeah.
And then the game was like, well, you made it. Like, the storm passed.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, holy shit, I made it.
I'm terrible at those games, like where you have to like conserve resources and be very sparing, and every bit that you use counts. Like, because I'm terrible with that in real life. So then like why am I going to play?
So
a game
you're not the
where I
guy
have to
who
save money?
Okay, because this is totally a gamer trope. Like like I'm definitely one of the people who tends to get, like get by on the cheap ammo and save the big health packs
for the boss
exactly.
battles. Yeah,
and then you get to the boss battle and you're just like, wait, that was it?
I'm okay with that. Like I can do survival horror where you've got like 6 bullets.
No, I'm talking like I will intentionally use up even in an abundance environment.
Right.
I will be stockpiling the high level stuff.
Yeah.
For the boss
rainy
battle.
day.
And then I get to the end game and I'm like, I had all these cool weapons. I barely used it all because I was saving them. And then I barely used them, and then the game is over.
That's always nice when they let you replay the game with all the stuff that you collected from the first run.
That's true. Cyberpunk does that.
Oh,
right?
Nice.
Kind of.
Yeah.
But so you're saying that you just take like whatever you get, you just use it.
I mean,
you don't try to hoard the good stuff.
I learned the hard way, and then like eventually but then at that point I don't like the game. Like, well, this isn't fun anymore. Like I want to feel powerful. I want to feel like a badass. I don't want to feel like I'm scrounging for pennies. But I think that's part of the fun for some people.
It is, and it almost
it is fun with like I was saying survival horrors
where they really severely restrict your resources.
You're stretched so thin. That can be kind of fun, but that's also just because of like the fear that you're not going to be able to handle the next thing that's around the corner.
Did you ever finish that one survival horror game?
Outlast?
Yeah.
No, I never did. I never touched it again.
It outlasted you.
It did. Yeah, that game is just pure. That's the scariest game, I think. The scariest series that I've come across.
It was intense.
It was just really designed for fear, like to just plant as much fear into your brain as possible, and it does a really good job, like atmospheric sounds and music and noises and just all kinds of crap.
The level that we both ended up stuck on with the sewer tunnels.
Oh yeah,
that was just interminable.
Yeah,
and
it's terrible.
And couldn't find a way out, and then eventually it was too much, and just never went back to it.
I knew I should have backed out of that game the moment I saw those 2 dudes just with their dongs out running at me.
I don't remember
when
that.
you're in like the asylum and just like there's just 2 dudes, like they're like brothers or something, and they're both naked because they're crazy, and their dicks are just waving around, and they're literally just chasing to kill you.
Do they have jiggle physics?
There might have been some. I was too scared to look, but even if I wasn't, I probably would try to make eye contact as best as possible. But that should have been my eject button right there. I was like, this isn't getting any better.
But you pushed through.
Let's see where this is going.
And
I did.
And then you got stuck in the
sewers.
The dank, dark sewers.
Yeah.
With a little camcorder.
Right.
For night vision.
Oh, God.
With the batteries that die immediately.
Terrible. That nothing. I mean, talk about like
good
conserving
game design.
Resources. Yeah, absolutely.
Good game design, but I couldn't hack it.
A little too much. I was only able to play that game because it was on stream, and I was like playing with
you had the emotional support.
Exactly. Yeah. I was like, all right, I'm not alone in this, even though I totally was.
People giving you hints.
Yeah. But then sometimes they don't. Sometimes they purposely steer you the wrong way because they want to see you freak out. And they're like, "What?" You feel so betrayed. You're like, "Dude, I trusted you guys. Why is there a dong in my face now?"
That's what happens when you trust your audiences. You just end up with dongs in your face.
Teabag to death, dude. Oh man, what's up, dude? Like, what? You're going on another trip, right?
Yeah, I'm possibly going to Amsterdam again.
Nice. That makes me so jealous because it reminds me of when I used to work at Newegg, and there would be work trips all the time.
Yeah.
Even if it was like somewhere within the States, it was cool. It was just like a free trip out of the office, a free trip out of town. You got to hang out with coworkers and just kind of, obviously it was work, but you got to dick around a lot too.
Yeah.
Like the whole travel experience for a work trip is like, I would say like maybe 40-50% work, and then the other 50% is just getting there and checking into the hotel, like, and having meals, going out after the work's done, and then flying back. Like all that is just, you're just chilling.
Yeah.
And that's a really nice part about it. But you're going to fucking Amsterdam, on the reg. It's really cool.
At this point, I'm a little bit over the city. I'm not much of a get out and see the city kind of person to begin with. And I've already done that a couple times.
Sure.
So I just end up reading a bunch at my hotel.
Yeah.
Which is like, I could do that anywhere. Why like I'm not, what I should be doing is planning an itinerary for like, okay, I'm gonna go and visit this nearby town that has some cool stuff to see.
Definitely.
And do some of that.
Go on like the Airbnb experiences page,
Yeah.
and there's a bunch of like pretty affordable tours. I mean, just globally, wherever you go, and it's just some dude that's either a local that's been there forever, or like an expat that's just like obsessed with the place you're going to. He's like, I decided to live here. I was born in Long Beach, but I came here once and I never
always
moved
loved
back.
this castle.
It's like I'm so jealous of that energy,
Yeah.
But you can definitely do that. I would suggest make some time to do a couple little adventurous stuff.
I think I want to try to
out of the city.
get out of the Netherlands as much as I like the Netherlands.
Yeah.
I think if I have a chance, I want to try to go and hit up France.
Yeah. Oh my God. During that trip.
Yeah.
Oh,
just
dude.
like if I have a chance to put some vacation time out at the end of it.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like you're already there, so it's much cheaper.
Once you're there,
so much cheaper to fly to a neighboring country.
Yeah. Or even take a train.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, German trains are terrible.
Are they?
But the trains in the Netherlands pretty solid. If they're not having if there's not a strike or something.
Yeah.
Which does happen occasionally, but otherwise, you would think Germans are all about precision engineering and whatnot, and you would expect sort of like a Japanese level of excellence with their train system. Not so.
Really,
Deutsche Bahn is pretty well known for being kind of a shit show.
Really? I remember I took when my family and I went to France. Well, we did like a Europe trip. We hopped around, but I remember taking like a bullet train. I think it was from Germany to France and then back from France to Germany. I remember it being okay, but I don't know if it was a German train or a French train.
Yeah.
But I do remember on the way back on the train from France, we were with a guy who we were staying with. It was like a family we were staying with. It was some guy that my dad knew, his old buddy from like when he was studying abroad. And he lived in Germany. And he got the worst case of food poisoning.
Oh, from like train food?
Well, because the night before when we were in Paris, we had this crazy like 9-course meal. They like to bring out everything like an hour at a time, small bites, but you're there for 6 hours.
Right.
But tartare. It was the tartare.
Oh,
the steak tartare that was just, raw meat, and he got it so bad. And I remember feeling bad for him, but also like, am I next? Like, am I? Because he was just shitting and
because you both ate the same.
We
thing.
all ate the same exact thing, but he was dealing with it. Took an L.
Oof.
But it was rough, dude. There's nothing worse than like being like that level of sick during public transportation. If you're on a plane, a train, a car is whatever. You just roll down the window, but and it's private. It's just you and your homies.
I'm realizing how lucky I am. I've never had like bad like stomach upset, like diarrhea or anything on an airplane.
You're so lucky.
I am. Now that I think about
insane.
it, like I remember the first time I went and flew out to Amsterdam. The day before, I went and got like a poke bowl.
Yeah.
Which normally is whatever. It's like low risk, but then I was like, low risk but high stakes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Fortunately, I was fine, but I only realized that after I was finished eating it, and I was like, well, I hope this isn't the one out of 100 times I get unlucky.
Yeah. Anytime I've gotten really sick on public transportation, it's been my own doing. It's been my own undoing. It's because I was just totally smashed the night before or something like that. Like I remember, did I tell you like the time when Paul and I were in New York for a business thing? It was like an Intel thing.
And you had way too much sake?
No, that was in China.
Oh, okay.
I'll tell you about that one too. Ooh, hangover stories. Let's go. But it was an Intel event, and it was the after the press briefing or whatever. They had this party, an after party they always have open bar, and so I just I went hard. And the next morning, Paul and I are waiting for our Uber to pick us up from the hotel. We're outside, and I'm just like, dude, I want to kill myself. Like and it's New York. We're like in Manhattan. Mm-hmm. So Manhattan, anywhere you're standing, there's at least 5 construction zones around you. Oh, and so you just hear the jackhammer in my head.
Jackhammers, when you're hungover,
it was insane.
It's like some asshole.
The guy was standing this close, just looking at me in the eye. Like, I'm like, I'm going to projectile vomit all over you right now. This is your fault. But go ahead.
I remember waking up hungover after a birthday party, and my next door neighbor had decided at 7 a.m. on a Saturday was the perfect time to have a like a little front end loader with a jackhammer attachment start destroying his driveway.
Oh my God.
And it was a seismic event.
Yeah.
You know, there was no level of like earplugs and a pillow over your head.
Yeah,
like,
the earth is shaking. Yeah.
You can't block that out.
It's crazy.
That was one of the most
so crazy.
infuriating, like becoming conscious experiences I've had.
Right, yeah. Now imagine that after 15 shots of the finest whiskey. And we get into the taxi, and it's like I don't know how long it was, like maybe an hour drive to like JFK Airport. And the whole time in the taxi, I'm like leaning, I'm in the back seat, Paul's in the front, and I've just got my finger on the window button.
Just ready to go.
Just ready to go. You know, I'm locked and loaded.
Because you don't want to puke in some poor person's car.
Definitely not. But the whole way, I'm like rocking back and forth, like trying to self-soothe because I'm so nauseous. I'm like ready to lose it at any moment. And we get to JFK Airport, and I beeline. I don't even think I said anything. I was like, I'll be right back, and I just beeline it to the nearest bathroom and just yacked my guts out. Unfortunately, that hangover was one where I puked like 16 times.
Yeah,
and it wasn't like a one and done type of thing. So we get on the plane, and I probably threw up 5 times on that flight. It was a 5-hour flight back home. Probably threw up 5 times in a airport bathroom, mind you. I mean, I at one point I just stood up, like I stood by the lavatory because I was just like, there's no point.
Because you were literally standing by.
Literally the whole flight. The whole flight, I was talking. Those are the only standby flights I've ever experienced. I wouldn't recommend it. And then we get back, and then finally, like by the time we got home, I was just starting. It was like 5 p.m. Like the day was over, and I was just starting.
The misery was finally starting.
I mean, it was atrocious.
That's really the only kind of hangover that you get to expect at this point, because the one and done, that was like the golden era of hangovers.
Yeah,
so like you wake up and you're like, bah! And you're like,
yeah.
Okay, now I immediately start feeling better and I'm coming back to life.
Round 2, let's go.
Because I rebooted.
The bounce back is fast.
Yes, but now it's just like you don't know what you're in for, but it's not going to be fun.
Yeah, no, it's not good. I had another time, the time I did drink the sake.
Yeah,
we were with I was with Rachel and Vu at the time, and we were covering this LED factory somewhere in Shenzhen, China.
Yeah,
and the night before we were going to do the shoot, we went out with he was like the owner of the factory. And he's like a multi-millionaire. And he was like showing us a good time or whatever. We go out, we get sushi, and he orders the comically large bottle of sake, the one that's just like, it's just supposed to be there for decor. Like you see it sometimes displayed in nice sushi restaurants. You go, no one actually gets that.
Right.
He got that. And it comes on our table, and he doesn't even warn us. It just shows up. And Rachel and I are like, ooh, like, and I'm like, Rachel, we going to crush this thing? Like, obviously joking. And she's like, yeah, let's go. And like, we start going shot for shot or whatever. And then she taps out so quick. And I was like, well, I guess I'm the only one in this race now. So I keep going. I mean, the bottle wasn't see-through, but I know I drank a lot of sake that night. And then because I remember blacking out, and I remember just barely walking through the streets of Shenzhen at night. This was after we had all gone back to the hotel room and we're like, all right, good night. We're going to crash and go. I went back out.
To do what?
To just be drunk and look like a fool. Just
wander the streets?
Just harass the locals just like a maniac. That's all I remember. It was just like, just like so. I'm amazed I even got back to the hotel.
It's surprising. It is very surprising.
Actually incredible what you can do when you're totally hammered. And I woke up the next morning with the gnarliest hangover I've ever had. Like, this was the number one hangover. Like, on that plane at JFK, I puked 16 times a day. I puked 35 times at least. It was insane. We show up and I'm like, I can't even move. I can barely function. I can barely walk.
Yeah.
And we go into this factory, and Rachel was a boss. She was just like, it's okay, I'll handle it. Her and Vu handled it. They did the shoot or whatever without me.
And you were just
I felt terrible, but
huddled up on a couch.
Literally, they put me in. There was this factory, right? Everyone's like at the office. Like there's an office section. People are at their desks and stuff. And the guy just like brought me to this cold, dark room. It was like a private office.
It's like they made a room for hangovers.
It was literally a hangover room because it was individually AC'd. Nothing else in the factory had air conditioning. because they're all just used to it.
Yeah.
So I'm dying in this, like, it's like 95 degrees in this factory. I'm excusing myself to the bathroom constantly. And then he puts me in this dark hangover room, and I'm there for like 6 hours, just running to the bathroom periodically, and the bathroom. So I go to the bathroom.
Oh, and it's one of the squatty.
It's a squatty potty, right? I open the first one, squatty potty. Open the second one, squatty potty. Third one's locked, whatever. So I'm just like,
so how is it vomiting into one of those?
it's terrible. Like you're doing a kimchi squat, right? I'm just kimchi squatting and just It looks like how an anime character. It just looks so ridiculous. Like I'm going Super Saiyan at the same time and just spraying, like missing completely. It's just all over the place. And then did you know this? Like a lot of places in Asia, they don't have toilet paper or they don't have anything to dry your hands with. Like you either bring your own towelettes or your own napkins, or you just wipe it on your shirt. And so
after you wash your hands.
After you wash your hands.
Well, I already do that.
And there was also no toilet paper. So nothing to wipe up any of my mess, nothing to dry my hands, nothing to dry my mouth.
Oh, that's right. You do have to bring your own toilet paper.
You bring your own shit. So it was just like abysmal, right? I'm puking into a hole in the ground, and I have nothing to clean up myself, and I just keep going back to the room and passing out. And then I think probably like the 18th time I go to puke, the third stall is now open, and it's a regular toilet with toilet paper.
And you're just like,
I'm like,
Shangri-La.
Could this day be any better? Oh my God. It was biblical how bad that was.
Sake got you good.
I don't think I drank sake for at least a week.
That's the sign of a lesson learned right there. Worst hangover I ever had. Oh man, I was the first time I went to Vegas. I was like, it's Vegas, baby. You got to be stupid and do stupid things. So drank a bottle of rum the first day.
Oh God.
And then the next day I did that again.
Yep.
And then I learned that you can have a 3-day hangover.
Oh God. You can put it down too. When you want to, you can put it down. You're a big boy.
I did.
3-day hangover? Oh my God.
Yeah, I was.
Were you puking the whole time? Were you nauseous?
No, I just felt like really, really crappy.
Yeah, your body was
and like
spent.
I felt like I had been poisoned, which I had.
Yeah.
You know, that is poison that your liver has to process.
Was it 3 days of a hangover in Vegas?
No, it was 3 days. Like it was 3 days of hangover after returning.
Like, yeah, okay.
Day one of the hangover started.
Yeah.
With me waking up, becoming conscious. I had just passed out on my bed, all my clothes on. I just taken my shoes off, spread eagled onto my bed, and passed out.
Oh my God.
That was day one of the 3-day hangover.
Hey, at least that happened when you got back. You know, it didn't intrude on your Vegas trip, which is nice.
Yeah. I do not remember, but I was told by my friend that I was talking about how the McRib was this artificial monstrosity of a meat product, and I had ordered a McRib, and I was just bouncing the patty off of the table in the food court.
Like it's a bouncy ball.
Yeah, and then I still ate it.
You're like, don't worry, everyone. I'm going to eat it.
And I wiped my face and my hands on like a hotel towel that I either I had brought with me or somebody had. Like,
I wonder if that's like a widely like that's like the McRib is like the arch nemesis of like hotel cleaning. You know, like the hotel cleaners. They go in and they see your towel and they go, McRib again.
The McRib is back.
We meet the McRib. The McRib is back.
I feel like
we meet again, old friend.
Bodily fluids would be the probably the main one.
God, yeah. Can't imagine being being one of the freaking Venetian or like, you know, or like one of like those really crappy motels right off the strip. Just imagine being a cleanup crew for that. I don't even know how that's.
I don't think they clean as much as they do obfuscate.
Right.
It's like if you have,
it's got to be best. You'd want to work at the shittiest hotels that doesn't care about cleaning, rather than one that's just nice enough to care about cleaning.
Right.
Where it's like, fuck.
Because the really shitty ones, you have to imagine it's like, oh no, there's a stain on the carpet. Okay, pour some soda water on it and spread it around until it looks like it's the rest of the carpet. Like
Right.
dilute the stain
Exactly. Yeah.
into all the other stains. Like mix all the stains
Exactly.
together.
Yeah.
And then you're
every
back to normal.
every white carpet's just beige now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beige is that's hoping for a lot.
I would imagine if you mixed all the bodily fluids together, you'd get a sort of beige.
Yeah.
It starts to look like khakis, you know.
Yeah. The would start going towards brown at some point.
Right, that's true. The seediest hotels, especially in Vegas, are the ones that will let you rent by the hour.
I've never been in a place where I imagine they would let you do that.
Yeah.
But I've also never tried.
If you ever need a room for just 40 minutes, you're up to no good. If you ever just like, I need privacy for the next 25 minutes, and it's not a bathroom,
Yeah,
you're up to no good.
I don't even know how
you're banging a hooker.
Like, how do you find those hotels? Like, who do you ask, and what do you ask for?
Well, I looked them up because I was curious once, and
Okay.
because I thought about, I actually considered doing like a vlog, like when I was going to Vegas. I was like, what if I did a vlog like one night in the worst hotel in Vegas, which I still think would be crazy. But you just go on Yelp and you sort by highest rated and go to the last page, and it's just like
The lowest rated.
it is the low. It's like half a star, and
Ooh.
it's like and you just get. Oh, the photos are insane. I mean, it looks like a movie set for like a horror film, and then you also then combined with close-up images of people's skin rattled with fucking bug bites,
Oh,
riddled with bug bites.
Okay.
It is gruesome. It's pretty horrific.
So basically,
That's
it's a
what
place where
convinced me. You know me. That's what convinced
Yeah.
me. I was like, I'm out. Once I saw the bug
Yeah.
bites, I was like, no.
Yeah,
Bed
because
bugs.
you go into a place like that, you're prepared to burn all your clothes
Yeah.
immediately upon leaving,
Yeah, right.
and take a long shower before you get into brand new clothes and
Yeah.
you get in your car and you drive.
That would be
away.
nice if they just probably had a complimentary furnace
Incinerator.
Incinerator.
Yeah,
Nothing can
you
come
got
back.
some pest-ridden clothes. You got a unwieldy body that you need. It's inconvenient. And you need to
Right.
get rid of it. Our incinerator will take care of it.
Man, I remember
We're earning that half star.
when Mel and I kind of first started dating. Yeah, it's true. We went to a rave. We went with Alvaro actually, but we went with Quinones and that crew. And it was really last minute, so we didn't have many hotel options available. So we booked like a Motel 6, and it was one of the crappiest motels I've stayed in. Like we get there, and it's full of just people that are going to the rave.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there would be normally much seedier characters there, but we
But it was a bunch of like normalish degen
normalish
types.
degen types, young people. I was like, all right. I actually kind of instilled for once. I was like, somehow this makes me feel safer.
Yeah.
All these people on drugs. So we get to our room after we check in, and the door just swings open because the lock has been completely broken into. Someone just like
Somebody
FBI
had kicked
opened
in the
up,
door.
kicked it in. Some crackhead probably, and there was no door. There was no lock on it, and we're like, all right, well, we need to. So we
So what? You didn't stack the furniture in front of the door?
That's probably what they would have suggested, honestly, if we didn't make a stink about it. And so we actually had some guy on site fix it, and Alvaro was there, so he does construction. He was just like, "Oh yeah, you want to turn it that?" He's just like, he's like, "I got this." But we fixed the door, and then we checked the bed for bed bugs. It's one of those places where you got to check.
Dude, I check everywhere.
But there were stains on everything. Like the towels were dirty. I mean, it just looked like someone was killed in the shower. And then for the most part, though, it wasn't like anything bad happened. We didn't get bit by anything. No one fucked with us. But that night we got back, Mel and I crashed out. But before we crashed, these guys like knocked on the door and they were like asking Alvaro if he had any crack. Alvaro, or I think it was either.
Oh, that would explain why the door was in the state it was.
Yeah, they were like,
Because there was a crack dealer in there
usually the guy
before.
in 609 always gives us crack. But Alvaro, it was either they were looking for crack or trying to sell crack. But then Alvaro just bought some. I think he bought some Molly from them, or they gave him Molly. Like he just took Molly from these crackheads. It was crazy. I was like, all right, we're booking this early.
And
next time. We're never coming
in
here
like
again.
the outskirts of, where was that? Vegas?
That was in San Bernardino.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, at the NOS Center or whatever.
Okay, that sounds pretty sketchy.
It was Sketchosaurus Rex. to the max.
I don't think I've ever stayed in a super sketchy hotel. I'm lucky.
Another one I stayed in was with my ex in Santa Monica.
Okay.
I don't know why. Oh, it's for someone's birthday, like a friend's birthday.
And it was like a last minute thing?
They were partying in Santa Monica, and we knew we were going to get drunk. And this is kind of before Uber really was a thing. So, like, oh, just book like a cheap motel and just crash there for the night.
Somewhere walkable.
Somewhere walkable. Somewhere safe, not. This place was really bad. It was, the typical, the place is a wreck, stains. You don't trust the sheets. You don't trust anything. You had to check the locks. But what was really funny is like they just had must have had a shitty generator or a shitty breaker, because at some point the power goes out in the entire complex.
Oh, wow.
And it was while we were getting ready to go out, and party with our friends.
Okay.
And my ex was midway through curling her hair. So she had half curl and half straight. It was pretty glorious. It was pretty amazing. But it took him like an hour or two, maybe 2 hours to turn it back on. So for the longest time, I'm just like taking photos of her. I'm like, this is so good. She's pissed. Yeah, that place was rough.
Wow. That's better than the power going out in the middle of the night and then you just like start roasting in your own juices because it's so hot.
Yeah, no.
That would be terrible.
Don't mess with my AC when I'm asleep.
No.
I need that shit.
Dude, air conditioning is such an amazing thing.
It is. It's probably one of the best inventions we've come up with.
Yeah, air conditioning
Has to be.
Antibiotics and aspirin.
Yeah.
All things that start with an A.
Yeah. AAA, baby. AAA is probably the fourth.
Do you have
AAA is the fourth best thing.
Do you have AAA?
I do.
You could have had them come give you gas when you ran out of gas.
I did. Wait, when? Oh.
Did you use up all your free gas?
No, I could have. But I think, were you...
I was just down the street.
You were close. You were close. Because, AAA will take an hour if they want.
Yeah.
Sometimes more. And I was like, Ian is right there. Let me make this his problem.
Yeah, no, it was actually kind of a fun challenge.
I did, you're like, oh, side quest.
Yeah,
I'm doing.
exactly.
I got you doing quests.
Yeah.
I told you the one time I ran out of gas on my way to Mel's place before our international trip to it was either Greece or Taiwan.
Maybe, but I don't think so.
I was like, oh, we got plenty of time. My car just breaks down. I was in the truck, runs out of gas on this street that's basically a highway. Cars are going 70, and even worse, it's right after a turn, so the cars don't have much time to spot me and then brake. So they're slamming their brakes. I'm pulled over to the side, but there's no shoulder, right?
Sounds like the 110.
It was worse than a freeway. Yeah, it was like the 110 because there's no shoulder.
Yeah,
and so and it's right after a curve, exactly like the 110. Imagine getting pulled over on that nightmare. It was a nightmare.
I got a flat tire on the 110, and I fortunately. It was a bad pothole right after it had rained. Yeah. It was on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I was able to get off. It wasn't so destructive that I wasn't able to pull off the actual freeway and limp to a stop. Yeah. Because that is a scary situation.
I mean, it was crazy. I had to get out of the car because I was so nervous that someone was just going to slam into me and just give me the craziest whiplash ever, or just my head was going to roll off. So I get out of the car. I'm just standing. Fortunately, there was a little bit of a hillside or whatever. I'm just standing in the weeds and then waiting forever for AAA to get there. They took an hour and a half plus because the guy got lost. He couldn't find me. He was in the neighborhood, on the other side of it. He thought I was in the neighborhood. I'm like, no, I'm in the freaking middle of the road. And so he eventually comes, fills up my gas tank, but he's he didn't put any cones out or anything. So, and my gas tank is on the scary side of all the traffic. No. So this guy's just sucking in his gut with a funnel, just trying to fill up my car. And I'm just just there for emotional support. I'm like, you got this.
That's sketchy.
It was so sketchy. And then, barely make our flight in time, because it took took 2.5 hours. I was like, oh, I'm early.
How many times have you gotten to the point where they're calling your name on the intercom?
Maybe once where they were actually calling my name. There were a couple times when I thought that's what it was going to be. And until I got to the gate, I've gotten to the gate right when they were boarding.
Okay.
When they would have been calling my name in a few minutes.
Right.
But as far as calling my name, probably only once when everybody in the plane was already seated.
Yeah.
And
you're the last person running down the center row, all sweaty.
Yes. And then you look like a fucking asshole because everyone's like, this fucking loser. That's why we're 20 minutes late.
Yeah.
You know? And that was in Macau, actually, for another business trip.
Okay.
I think it was like an AMD thing, the big launch. And Paul was there. I think maybe Rachel and some other Vu and the whole team, right? And we don't know how Macau works. Macau doesn't. There's a method to the madness that we didn't understand because there was no lines. Like the kiosk to check in, there's no line. It's just a mob of people pushing inward, like you're at a really shitty LA bar and you're just trying to get to the front of the bar.
And you have to have almost your junk touching the butt of the person in front of you, or
Literally.
else someone will squeeze in there.
It was a mosh pit.
Yeah.
It was a literal mosh pit at the airport to just check in your bags and shit. And so we're like, oh my God. And it's like, they're all good at it. Like this is their turf.
They know the
They know what they're
system.
doing.
It's like if they were trying to drive in LA traffic.
Exactly. So we're like the Asians for once. We're just like, I don't want to cut him off. Like we're being all timid and shit, you know? We're stopped in the middle of the intersection. And they're just like flying by us, dude. And Paul's getting so mad. Like angry Paul is always so funny. He's just like, this motherfucker. Just like seething, right? And then we finally, we are hauling. We're like, Ron, go, go, go. It's always crazier when it's like a group of you two. It's just it makes it way more chaotic. And then
it's almost like the Left 4 Dead kind of group dynamic.
It is. It was 100% that. We had flashlights. Paul's got an axe and fuck. And then so we are dripping sweat. At least me and Paul were, and we're just like walking through, like trying to get to our seat. And everyone's just like sat. Everyone's settled in. Yeah. Just looking up at us like, you piece of shit.
Don't make eye contact. Don't make eye contact.
Yeah. The shame. It
is a walk of shame.
There's no more shame that can be felt than when you're like at the airport or on a plane. I don't know what it is. Like if it happens in the middle of the street, it's like there's still same people around. But if it's on a plane, I don't know. It's just maybe like a high stress
because you
environment.
have to spend the next several hours in close proximity.
That could be it too.
To
like,
all these people.
Like, well, I guess
silently
I can't take a shit on this flight anymore.
Yeah,
I'm never getting up from this seat until everyone's gone.
Right? Have you ever actually just waited till you're the last person on the plane?
No, I can't. I've never done that. I've never needed to. I would if I was that guy that shit himself on the plane and just diarrheaed up and down the aisle. I will at that point I would just pull the emergency hatch and let myself out.
I did that one time because I had a window seat. I was tired and I was grumpy and I didn't want to deal with all that.
Yeah.
So I was seated like maybe halfway up the plane. But I just sat and I waited until everyone else was off, and then I finally I was like, I'm not in a hurry. Yeah. I have the day off tomorrow. I'm already tired, and I just took my time getting my bags and making my way off.
How was it?
It was actually kind of nice. You just you surrender to the experience.
Right.
You embrace the suck.
Buy the ticket, take the ride.
And then because I realized like if I'm like doing that thing where you're like, okay, I got to make sure that I time my exit from my seat just right, and I know my bag is right here. And
it's a whole song and dance. Yeah, it sucks. It's stressful.
I was like, I'm gonna forego that.
Yeah,
and I'm just going to take my time. I'm not in a hurry. Why do I have to be in a hurry? I'm not in a hurry.
Right.
So
and then you get to like trick yourself into thinking that you have a private jet.
Yes.
You're just gonna they pull out the red carpet. Oh, I'm the only one here.
Yep.
I'll just mosey about. Oh, thank you, gentlemen.
It worked out.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a common thing because you almost always like when you're traveling, you're always in a hurry.
You know what the worst? It's true. Yeah. The worst part about unboarding, deboarding, offboarding.
I don't know.
Unboarding, whatever. A plane for me is deciding whether or not to help the lady or girl across from me or near me with her bags. That's always a big point of like contention for me because I'm like, am I an asshole? Because I could be an asshole if I don't help her. It's like, dude, be a gentleman, fucking help her out. Or is it gonna come across as like, or am I gonna embarrass myself by trying to help? And she's like, I got this.
It's full of lead bricks.
I got this. I'd be more nervous, like especially if it's like a semi like attractive person, like a girl or woman, where I'm just like, I don't want to be like that white knight, like I'll get it, lady, or stand back, miss. So if Mel's with me, then it's a lot easier for me to make the call because I'm like,
Yeah.
see, everyone, I've got a girlfriend. It's fine.
I'm helping her. I'm doing my duty.
Yeah. But yeah, sometimes that messes with me. I'm like, what's the move here? You know?
I'll just say, hey, can I give you a hand with that?
I love it when they ask. They're like, can you help me? I'm like, thank you. It was your idea. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But otherwise,
I feel
on the
like
fence.
just
On the
a
fence.
casual, can I help you out with that or whatever?
That's a good call. Do you need help? Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you weak?
No,
Weak
I
and useless?
not making any assumption, just trying to be helpful. Like,
Yeah.
can I give you a hand with that?
Yeah.
No? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then I feel like that's probably the most diplomatic way I've found to approach it,
That's a good call.
where I feel good. I feel good about myself for having made the effort of offering assistance, but
Sure.
I'm not putting
Pushing it.
any pressure on anybody. I'm just offering the assistance.
Right. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. You don't want to be like a bellboy where you just grab
Oh,
it.
let me get that for you.
Or just, but you don't want to just like grab it before they even say, before anything's said. You don't want to just assume.
Right.
Yeah. No, I've never done that. That's crazy. But,
Or what is it? If people who will like just start pushing somebody who's in a wheelchair,
yeah.
and they'll just be like, "Oh, let me give you a push."
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, that is extremely frowned upon.
Right. Yeah.
Which
I've never even tried to do that.
it's-
I would never.
Yeah, exactly. Nor I.
Yeah.
I can see how it wouldn't be immediately obvious to some people,
Sure,
but
sure.
It just seems like one of those things where it's like, personal autonomy.
It seems like, it also seems like when you're in that position, like a wheelchair is kind of the extension of your body.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's you. I'm not going to touch anyone.
Yeah.
I'm not going to touch you and what's connected to you.
Right.
That's your property. That's your bubble.
business. Yeah.
But yeah, it's always weird too. Like when people are too helpful. And sometimes like it's their job. Like if you go to a fancy, like if you ever check into like a fancy hotel.
Oh yeah.
And you roll up and then like the bellboys or whatever, like just grab everything. Like certain things, yeah, like big suitcases. But then like I'll have a small backpack. And they're like, oh, let me grab that. I'm like, no, I can get that. No, we'll get it. I'm like, no, it's a backpack. I'm not a billionaire. You don't have to do every little thing for me. I can wear a backpack. And also my drugs are in there. So give me that fucking backpack.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've never gotten the super overly helpful we'll get your bags up to your room for you thing.
Yeah.
I do remember like traveling with my family as a kid. I remember seeing that happen, but that made a lot more sense when you have like a whole family to wear the bags.
Oh yeah, and you got kids.
Yeah, then having a bellhop who can get those and
Yeah,
them to the room is like,
I put the kids on there too.
that's super helpful.
Can you take the kids to the room?
I would have
awesome.
wrote on that.
That would have been sick. Oh yeah, the kids would have loved it. Parents would have loved it. Trying to check into a hotel with kids.
It's the 90s,
Sounds
so
terrible.
you can do that kind of thing.
I know. Yeah, before they were getting abducted and taken to islands.
Or the hotel sued because somebody fell off a luggage cart and hurt themselves. I don't know.
Yeah. But the other thing about like the overambitious bellboys is like they're all working for tips too. So it's just kind of also like the bigger the load they can carry for you, like the bigger the obligation for a tip is when they get to the room. I'm like, I'll give you $5 worth of bags. That's about it. I'm not gonna give you anything more than that.
I have traveled with more than just a carry-on and a backpack, and it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
So I probably would have, if somebody had offered help, I might have taken it.
I remember when I went to the CES earlier this year, I showed up solo. Mel met me later, but I showed up with like all the gear because I was like shooting interviews. I had so much gear,
Right.
And they filled it up so much that they charged me an oversized luggage fee.
Oh wow.
It was like $35 or something.
That seems cheap. Oh wait, on top of the
On
$80?
top of the valet, because I didn't want to carry all that shit myself from the parking garage.
Okay.
On top of valet, on top of the normal, I don't know, whatever. It ended up being something like $80 or something like that.
Okay.
But it was kind of worth it.
Wait,
too.
the hotel charged you?
The hotel.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And it was also crazy because it was a little sketchy because they needed the oversized luggage fee in cash.
That is a little sketchy.
Yeah, I handed just a bellboy cash for it. I was like, I can't do credit. And they're like, nah. I'm like, all right.
And that's why you travel with cash.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
Because it's easy to get
Especially
used
in
to
Vegas.
not. Yeah, especially. It's for me. It's easy to be complacent and get used to not carrying cash.
Yeah, me too.
And then, dude, I remember one time I ran out of gas on my way home from work, and I was literally scrounging through my car, and I
Coins
found
and shit.
I found $6 in dollar coins.
Oh wow!
I went through a phase of
good.
like having dollar. I used to have this thing for having weird currency, like dollar coins and $2 bills.
Sure.
Just to
collect them or to use them and spend them? Oh, really?
Just I like.
You just enjoyed the
I
novelty
like
of it.
the underdog money.
Yeah, right. Hey, let's give Sacagawea some spotlight.
Exactly. So somehow I managed to dig up $6 coins.
It's pretty solid.
I went to a gas station.
It's a solid gallon.
I was like, can you
Gallon or
get
two.
6 on pump 3? And they looked at the coins like, the fuck.
You want a lotto scratcher too? You bum fuck.
Exactly. But that was enough to get me home. And I think ever since then I've been pretty good at like making sure that I have some cash either with me or in my car.
I got to do that. I got to put like a 20 in my car or something.
Put it behind your phone case.
Oh yeah, that's a good call.
Because it's inconvenient enough that you won't just spend it
Right.
willy-nilly.
True.
But if you're anything like me, you're pretty good at not losing your phone.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you just fold a bill up and stick it behind your phone case.
I'm just checking to see if I have any in there right now. No, I don't. Because I'm like, I could have easily just forgot about it. No, I don't got any in there. That's a good idea. Mel does that.
Yeah, I complimented her on that.
Yeah, she's much more.
But yeah, keeping some cash somewhere where it's not convenient enough for you to just spend because you're hungry and you want that bag of Cheetos.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's there for when you really need it because parking is cash only or whatever. You ran out of gas, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I had run out of gas and I think none of the credit cards, like the credit card system was down or something at that gas station. I don't know.
Right.
Anyway, cash still is a good fallback.
Definitely. Cash is it's crazy how it's like dying out, but it's also so essential in certain situations.
I agree.
I agree.
It's
a weird thing.
I'm not a big fan of the push for like a cashless society.
Right.
I personally dislike the idea of all transactions and money being essentially digital.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like it's very invasive and
right.
There's especially when it comes to like teaching kids about the value of work and money and how to manage it.
Sure.
Having a material thing instead of an abstract number.
It's a lot easier to understand.
It is.
Yeah.
Like I learned how to count with goldfish.
Yeah.
Like I like
with
to eat goldfish.
The snack, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like playing a
like
game in
dead
kindergarten.
goldfish.
Like you get 10 goldfish, you're counting them, and then you get to eat them all once you count them.
Yeah.
I was really good at counting to 10.
You're very food motivated as a child.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think the only scenario where you should have cashless society or where it should be completely cashless is if you're over 70 and you're at the grocery store. You shouldn't allow them to pay because they're going to pay with exact change.
Yeah.
And they're going to hold up the line for like an hour.
Yeah, I used
no check if you're over 70 for all the geezes, no checks, no cash, just
pretty much
just
all retail
card
places
only.
stopped taking checks.
Yeah.
A few years back,
yeah.
I think. Which honestly is surprising they still did as late as they did.
True.
But I remember having somebody who would pay with, if it was their total was $27.53, they'd write a check for $25 and then pay $2.53 in cash.
That would drive me up the wall. If that person was in front of me.
Yeah.
You still see it sometimes. Not with the checks, but with exact change.
Yes.
Especially like the older, it's the geezes.
Yeah.
The geezes really got to do it exact.
Especially it's so silly now that like a penny is worth so little.
Yeah.
It's like not even worth bending over and picking it up. It's
right.
like it's literally not even worth your time.
It's useless, yeah.
And I don't know. I don't want to go on a whole rant about how annoying pennies are.
Yeah. But I mean, maybe that's the thing. It's like when you're that old, you come from a generation where a penny was worth something.
It meant something.
And so like
sure.
it's not crazy to just take it out and count it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it is now. It's like, you're counting pennies? What are you doing? But back then it was just like, this is legal tender.
The only reason why people
buy a movie ticket with this.
The only reason why people under 50 count pennies is just if they're managing a cash register and they want to make sure things are balanced.
Yeah. Right.
That's my hot take, I guess.
Yeah. True.
Get rid of those things.
They should ban the penny. Should get rid of the penny.
We used to have a smaller unit of currency.
Micro penny?
It was called Hay Penny, I think.
Oh, Hay Penny. I've heard of that.
And I think when we finally got rid of it, it was approximately the value of like a dime.
Okay.
By 2010 or 2015 standards.
Oh, wow.
So like the equivalent value was that much, and they still got rid of it as like
then what the hell are we doing with the freaking penny?
Exactly.
Or the nickel for that matter.
Exactly.
Damn.
Like the copper industry is making us make pennies.
Is it worth
or
more?
Actually zinc, sorry.
Is it? Oh, because yeah, they used to be copper, now they're zinc, right?
Yep.
Damn.
They're a huge money loser. Like it costs more money to make pennies than they are worth face value.
True. That's a good point.
Why are we bothering with them?
Damn. What if you had like 1,000 penny? Could you like melt them down, make something more valuable?
Yeah, but then you would get into trouble for destruction of
currency. I forgot you get
like you can totally collect coins for their melt value.
Sure.
But then eventually probably the Secret Service or somebody will come after you and be like, hey, stop that.
Knock it off, dude.
Crazy thing about pennies, though, don't eat them. The modern zinc pennies.
That's what I was gonna say. I'm melting them down for a fondue. A good fondue.
Apparently, I got lucky because I did eat some coins when I was a kid.
Of course.
I woke up in the middle of the night. I was hungry, and I was like, I've never tried eating these before. Maybe they're good. People make a big fuss about them. Spoiler alert: coins do not taste good, nor do they satisfy hunger.
Oh man.
I couldn't get the quarters down. They seemed like the most promising at filling my stomach up, but they were too big.
I don't even blame you because they have chocolate coins when you're a kid.
That's true.
You're conditioned from a young age to think that quarters are delicious.
I tried to eat some quarters. Nope, they didn't work. But I ate some pennies and some dimes.
Yeah.
Luckily, they were probably older copper pennies because the zinc ones, when they're exposed to some stomach acid, apparently, stomach acid will eat away at the edges of them, and then they become kind of like razor sharp discs.
Oh God!
And then those can like cut you or like lodge in the wall of your intestine or something. No. Turn into a huge problem.
Have you ever eaten anything that you weren't supposed to and then like threw it up, like intentionally threw it up? You're like, oh shit, that shouldn't have gone down there. I gotta yak this out real quick.
Probably. I think the only thing I can say that for is alcohol.
I was gonna say just alcohol and drugs. I think that's about it.
I'm just like, I know I drank too much and it's still in my stomach. So if I get rid of some of it now, then I'll feel better tomorrow.
Right.
I've done that before.
Yeah. I remember one time, I think this was my sophomore year of college. I made not even made friends. I met this chick who was like in the dorms, and she was maybe a year older, but she was like I later found out that her family was like super wealthy, but just kind of didn't give a shit about whatever family issues.
Yeah. She
was on all kinds of prescription pills, and she was tatted up, and she was like this like skinny rocker chick with this white girl. And she'd always wear like AC/DC shirts and shit.
Yeah.
And one day she was like, oh, you want to like hang out or whatever, just chill. It's like, yeah. So I go over her place, and she goes, have you ever done DXM? And I'm like, what? No. Like, what's that? And so she hands me, she gets out this bottle of freaking Robitussin, but it was like the pill form. Mm-hmm. And she literally hands me like 12 pills.
Yeah.
Or it was like 16, something crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how many do I take? She's like, all of them. And I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, it'll be fine. So I'm like an idiot. I'm a dumbass. So I like take them. And then like maybe 30 minutes later, I'm like, I don't feel good. I just run to the bathroom and yak. I just yak my brains out, right? And then proceed to trip for like 6 hours in this chick's room. I am literally flying through the clouds of heaven. I'm like laying in her bed and I'm staring up. She had like, of course she had one of those like
Blacklight posters.
Blacklight. It wasn't blacklight. It was like those tapestries that people just hang.
Okay.
It's all like all the crazy Indian patterns or whatever. And I'm just like watching this thing come to life, you know, becoming like the chakra with like 16 arms. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is terrible. This is crazy. And then I never talked to that chick again. I was like, you're fucking insane. No, she was chill, but she was also she had a lot of issues. And I was just like, you're bad news. First time I hang out with you, I puke my guts out and go insane. I'm like, I probably shouldn't.
So would you say it was better to have puked at the beginning or to have the trip start kicking in and then have like nuclear shits?
No, I'm glad I got the puke out of the way.
Okay.
Yeah. Just
because those are your two options.
Yeah, front load the shit and then have a good time. You know.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
It was the investment. Yeah, dude. Just all these crazy stories from the past are coming back to me right now. It's so insane.
How did we survive all these things?
Yeah. You would think that one of our friends or us would have not made it.
Right.
Or just
we're lucky we don't have any,
or have gone or like ended up in, you know, prison or on Kensington.
Yeah.
You know, like
we're lucky. We don't have any like fallen comrades.
Yeah. Our success rate. And I think that's also what just like encouraged us to keep doing, or like we totally got this under control.
And
we're fine.
I think our group of friends tends to be the, you know, we look out for each other.
Yeah, that is true. We have a good support system.
We're not assholes who are just like, he's passed out. Let's draw dicks on him.
Yeah, right.
Oh, he stopped breathing 3 hours ago. We should call an ambulance.
Yeah. And we're all fairly high functioning. Fairly. Use that term loosely. Good God, dude. Oh man. Anything else before we wrap this?
Yeah, if you're hacking in online games, you're an asshole bastard.
Don't hack in online games.
Yeah.
It ruins the fun.
It does. I've been that person, and I'm not proud of it, and I learned my lesson.
Yeah.
And it ruined the game for me, and as well as others.
Right.
So I don't know. I had put so much time into the game that I was like, I could be better, but I'm too lazy to try to really be better. And then I started hacking, and then I got banned, and I was like, well, that was stupid because I wasn't really having fun. I was ruining everyone else's fun. The only time that I actually had fun was when there was another person hacking.
Oh, yeah.
And I just out-hacked them until they left the server.
Well, isn't that funny? Because then it's competitive.
Yeah.
At that point, it's competitive again. And,
yeah,
then you realize
that was the one. Oh. It was like,
this is actually nice to
exactly.
not be God.
Mm-hmm.
Being God kind of sucks.
Exactly. So don't hack. It ruins your fun. It ruins everyone else's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I got.
All right. Good one. All right, guys. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week. Later.